European dreams. The adventure of two best friends, Tiffani and Areffa. Episode 3. London, the last chapter. Every journey has a beginning. And every journey, no matter how beautiful, eventually reaches an end. After unforgettable days in Paris and incredible adventures in Switzerland, Tiffani and Areffa had finally arrived at the last destination of their 11-day European trip, England. The final chapter of a journey they had dreamed about for years. Over the past 10 days, they had laughed together, explored together, faced challenges together, and created memories they would carry for the rest of their lives. But now, a different challenge awaited them. Not a lost passport, not a mountain storm, not a difficult hike. This challenge was much harder. They would soon have to say goodbye. Arrival in London. The aeroplane slowly descended through the clouds. Below them, the vast city of London stretched across the horizon. Rows of buildings, winding streets, and the River Thames created a view unlike anything they had seen before. Tiffani pressed her forehead against the window. A smile slowly appeared on her face. We're really here. Areffa looked outside as well. The last country. The words felt heavier than either of them expected. The last country. The final destination. The final chapter. Neither of them wanted to think about what would come after that. A short time later, they stepped outside Heathrow Airport. The cool London air greeted them immediately. Cars moved along the roads. Red double-decker buses passed by. Black taxis lined the streets. Everything looked exactly like the London they had seen in movies. Yet somehow it felt even more special, because they were experiencing it together. As they drove toward their hotel, both friends stared out the windows. The city seemed alive, busy but elegant, historic yet modern. Every street seemed to have a story waiting to be discovered. That evening, after checking into their hotel, they decided to take a short walk. The streets were filled with people. Musicians played near the sidewalks. Restaurants glowed with warm lights. And the city felt welcoming. For a moment, neither of them thought about the fact that their adventure was almost over. They simply enjoyed being there, exploring the city of stories. The next morning began early. The sky was clear. The weather was perfect. And their first destination was one of London's most famous landmarks, Big Ben. As soon as they reached Westminster Bridge, Tiffani stopped walking. There it was, the famous clock tower standing proudly above the city. Its massive clock face shined under the morning sun. Without hesitation, she pulled out her phone. Oh no! Areffa looked at her. What happened? I think I already took 50 pictures. Only 50? Maybe 70. Still not enough. Both of them laughed. They spent the morning exploring Westminster. Tourists from all over the world filled the area. Boats moved slowly along the River Thames. Street performers entertained crowds, and everywhere they looked, there was something interesting to see. As they walked beside the river, Tiffani suddenly asked, "Which city did you like the most?" Areffa thought for a moment. That's difficult. Paris? Beautiful. Switzerland? Amazing. London? Incredible. That's not an answer. Areffa laughed. Each place gave us different memories. Tiffani nodded. She couldn't argue with that. Paris had given them wonder. Switzerland had tested their friendship. And London. London felt like a place where they would finally understand how much this journey truly meant. The fear neither wanted to admit. 3 days remained before their flight home. And for the first time during the entire trip, both friends became unusually quiet. Not because they were unhappy, not because they were tired, but because a thought had started following them everywhere. The trip was ending. One evening, they sat beside the River Thames, watching the city lights reflect on the water. The wind was gentle. The atmosphere was peaceful. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then Tiffani finally broke the silence. Areffa? I'm scared. Areffa turned toward her. Scared of what? Tiffani looked at the river. Her voice became softer. I'm scared this trip is almost over. The words hung in the air. For the first time, neither of them had a joke ready, because they both felt exactly the same. News from home. The following morning started quietly. Grey clouds drifted across the London sky as Tiffani and Areffa enjoyed breakfast in a small cafe near their hotel. The aroma of fresh coffee filled the air. People chatted softly around them. Everything seemed peaceful. Then Areffa's phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. It was his mother. A strange feeling immediately settled in his chest. His mother rarely called during the day, especially when she knew he was travelling. Excuse me for a moment. He stood and stepped outside. Tiffani watched him through the cafe window. At first, everything seemed normal. Then she noticed his expression change. The smile disappeared. His shoulders dropped slightly, and he became unusually quiet. Several minutes later, he returned. He sat down without saying a word. The cheerful energy he usually carried seemed gone. Tiffani carefully placed her cup down. Areffa? He looked up. Yeah? Is everything okay? For a moment, he hesitated. Then he sighed. It's my grandfather. Tiffani immediately understood. The grandfather who had practically raised him. The grandfather who bought him his first camera. The grandfather who always encouraged him to chase his dreams. What happened? He had another complication last night. Tiffani felt her heart sink. Is he okay? The doctors are still monitoring him. The words sounded calm, but she could hear the worry behind them. For the rest of the day, Areffa seemed distracted. They visited several famous locations. They took photos. They explored the city. Yet something felt different. Whenever his phone vibrated, he immediately checked it. Whenever there was a moment of silence, his thoughts seemed to drift back home, and Tiffani noticed all of it. That evening, she found him standing alone on the hotel balcony. The city lights stretched endlessly before him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then she walked beside him. You miss him? Areffa nodded. More than I expected. Tiffani looked at the city. My grandmother passed away when I was 16. Areffa turned toward her. She rarely spoke about personal things. I remember feeling helpless. She continued, I wanted to do something. What did you do? Tiffani smiled softly. I called her every day. And? Sometimes that's enough. For the first time that day, Areffa smiled. A small smile, but a genuine one. A secret fear. The next day was their final full day in London. The realization felt strange. Just yesterday, it seemed like they had arrived in Paris. Now, they were preparing to go home. That afternoon, they sat near the River Thames, watching boats move slowly across the water. The city was alive around them, yet Tiffani seemed unusually quiet. Eventually, Areffa noticed. You're thinking about something. She laughed. Am I that obvious? Very. She looked down at her hands, then finally spoke. Can I tell you something? Of course. Tiffani took a deep breath. I think I'm afraid. Of what? She stared at the river. I'm afraid things will change. Areffa frowned slightly. What do you mean? When we go home. He remained silent, listening. We live in different countries. She continued. We have different lives, different schedules, different responsibilities. She paused. What if we slowly stop talking? The question surprised him, because it was something he had secretly worried about too. For several moments, neither spoke. Then Areffa laughed softly. Tiffani looked confused. What? You know what's funny? What? I've been thinking the exact same thing. Both of them laughed. The tension immediately disappeared. Then let's make a deal, Areffa said. What kind of deal? No matter how busy life becomes, we stay friends. Tiffani smiled. Deal. They shook hands. Then immediately laughed because it felt overly dramatic. The surprise? That evening, Areffa invited Tiffani to a small park overlooking the city. The sun was beginning to set. Golden light covered everything around them. Why are we here? Tiffani asked. I have something for you. Her curiosity instantly grew. What is it? Just wait. Areffa reached into his backpack. Carefully, he pulled out a large hardcover book. The cover was simple. Dark blue. Elegant. Tiffani looked confused. What is this? Open it. She slowly opened the first page and immediately froze. It was a photo album, not an ordinary photo album. A handmade collection of their entire journey. Paris, Switzerland, London. Every important moment was there. The first photo showed them meeting at the airport in Paris. The second showed Tiffani's expression when she first saw the Eiffel Tower. Another captured their laughter while eating croissants. Another showed snow flying through the air during their snowball fight in Switzerland. Page after page revealed memories she had already begun to miss. Areffa, she whispered. But he simply smiled. Keep going. Tears slowly appeared in her eyes. There were photos she didn't even know existed. Pictures of small moments. Simple moments. The moments that often become the most important memories. Then she reached the final page. There was a single photograph, the two of them standing together in front of the Swiss Alps. Both smiling, both happy. Beneath the picture was a short message. Distance may separate countries, but true friendship knows no borders. Tiffani could no longer hold back her tears. This is the best gift anyone has ever given me. Areffa smiled. I'm glad you like it. I don't like it. His face fell dramatically. What? Tiffani laughed through her tears. I love it. Goodbye, for now. The next morning arrived too quickly. Neither of them felt ready. Yet time never waits. Soon they were standing inside Heathrow Airport. Travellers moved in every direction. Announcements echoed through the terminal. Flights departed. People arrived. Life continued as usual. But for Tiffani and Areffa, this moment felt different. The departure board displayed two destinations. Tokyo, Jakarta, 2 flights, 2 paths, 2 different directions. For several moments, they simply stood there, neither knowing exactly what to say. Finally, Tiffani smiled. Though her eyes were already becoming red. I hate this part. Areffa nodded. Me too. 11 days felt way too short. It did. Silence returned. Then Tiffani opened her arms. One last hug? Areffa laughed. Of course! They hugged, not as people saying goodbye forever, but as friends grateful for every moment they had shared. When they finally stepped apart, both were smiling, even with tears in their eyes. This isn't goodbye, Tiffani said. No, Areffa agreed. It's just until the next adventure. A message above the clouds. Several hours later, their planes were flying in different directions, thousands of kilometers apart. Yet both were thinking about the same memories. As Areffa sat looking through photos from the trip, his phone displayed a message that had arrived moments before takeoff. It was from his mother. His hands trembled slightly as he opened it. Then he smiled. For the first time in days, genuine relief washed over him. The message read, Grandpa is awake. The doctors say he's improving. Areffa closed his eyes. A deep breath escaped his lips. Outside the window, endless white clouds stretched across the horizon. For the first time since arriving in London, his heart felt light again. 6 months later, winter had arrived in Tokyo. Christmas lights decorated the streets. Snow gently covered rooftops. Meanwhile, in Jakarta, warm rain fell across the city. Traffic moved through wet streets. Life continued as usual. One evening, Tiffani's phone buzzed. A new message appeared from Areffa. She opened it immediately. There was only a photograph. A picture of the Eiffel Tower glowing beneath the night sky. The very place where their journey had truly begun. Below the image was a simple message. If we could travel anywhere next year, where would you go? Tiffani smiled, then quickly typed her reply. I heard Norway has beautiful northern lights. Less than 30 seconds later, a response arrived. Deal. Tiffani laughed. Thousands of kilometers away, Areffa laughed too. Because they both knew something important. Their European adventure had ended, but their story hadn't. Some friendships fade with distance. Theirs grew stronger because of it. And somewhere in the future, under the dancing lights of the Arctic sky, another adventure was already waiting. The end. Final message. The greatest souvenirs from any journey are not the places we visit, but the people who walk beside us along the way.